All good? All good up the back? Good. Clarko, felt like you were in that game up until half-time again, similar to last week, but that third quarter was really the area that let you down.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. It seemed like it just took the fizz out of us, when Marshall kicked those 2 goals from the boundary, in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. We're sort of only 2 or 3 goals down at three-quarter time. That turns it into a 5-goal margin pretty quick space, and we never seemed like we recovered from it. They dominated the quarter, and for the rest of the game, the game was pretty even, albeit I thought that just their polish with the ball was just superior to ours, a little bit like last week with Essendon. So that's learning for us, but we had the same amount of the ball as what Port Adelaide did, so we had the same amount of opportunities with the ball in our hand, but their polish and execution of their skills was just far superior to ours, and didn't allow us to get good field position, and meant that with some of our disposal it was rushed, which then brought Aliir and Radicalier into the game. They weren't. It wasn't so much they were so dominant, those two players, in terms of taking intercept marks and high possession, but they were very, very difficult to pass, and that made our job even more difficult.
When you look at the numbers, I think 1 disposals, 1 the hit-outs, 1 the contested possessions, but weren't able to, I guess, do it on the scoreboard. Is that the most frustrating part, that you're able to win some KPIs that usually result in a win, but it's just not reflecting on the scoreboard?
Yeah, well, it's pleasing, the contested possession one in particular. We've been unable to win that for a long period of time, and we were able to secure that stat today. So there's still some things that we're really, really pleased with. Our first quarter in particular was terrific, and I think we had a shot at goal that was a very gettable shot. I can't remember who had it, but it was towards the end of the first quarter, and then they scored 2 goals in a minute to finish the quarter. And instead of it perhaps being a 4-3 lead to us, it's a 5-3 deficit. But that's what we need to learn, is to take your chances when they present. And Port Adelaide took theirs at crucial stages. As I said, Marshall kicks 2 goals from the boundary that just really get them going in the third quarter. So that's good sides make the most of their opportunities, and we'll get there in the long run. But we just need to learn to take them when we can.
Is there elements of those 2 third quarters over the last 2 weeks that are similar to you, I guess, from the naked eye? I assume you haven't been able to assess it in depth, but is there something that sticks out in both those games?
No, we need to go back and look at the tape. We actually corrected a couple of things in the first half. Where it was 21-11 in terms of clearances, and so we corrected that. We tried to quell the influence of Horne-Francis in the second half, and we're able to do that. His influence in the first half was pretty significant, especially around stoppage. I think he'd had 8 clearances to half time, so only had 2 in the second half. So strangely enough, we win these little battles within the games. I thought Shields went to Butters in the first half, and I think Zach only had 5 touches in the first half. Kicked a couple of goals, but over those 5 touches, but his influence wasn't significant. But then Horne-Francis pops up, so we needed to take Shields to him. So there were some little wins for us along the way, but we're winning small battles, but still losing the war. So we're still pleased with some of the progress our players of the core did well. I thought our ruck Sherry did particularly well. LDU in the middle of the ground was a real warhorse for us, and young Will Dawson did some good things in the back half. In his second game, but he played a bit of the game on Marshall, and because of our turnovers, Marshall still managed to get out the back and kick some goals on Will. But when Will was actually in the contest with Marshall, he did a really, really good job. So we're pleased with the progress that some of our lads are making, but it's still not enough to get us competitive enough to be in the contest for long enough today.
Pretty happy with Charlie Comden's. I thought first half particularly he was up and compete really well on the air. Obviously Todd and the other forwards got off the chain a little bit, but I thought Charlie really kept you in the game from a defensive perspective in that first half. Yeah,
and same sort of thing. We probably eventually see him playing forward ruck for us in the future, but we're playing him behind the ball just so he gets some continuity with his footy. And, same sort of thing, rob Peter to pay Paul. In the last quarter, we take him forward just to try something because, we weren't getting the contest where we desired in front of the ball in the first three quarters. So tried something, didn't necessarily work for us, but we took away what he'd been playing quite well in our back half for us. And we tried a couple of things. So we're pleased that we're not just sitting there and waiting till the end of the game and saying, oh, we should have tried this or should have tried that. We made some adjustments through the game that helped in some instances and didn't help in others.
How do you sort of look at the club's rebuild and where the club is sort of overall? Is it maybe a bigger challenge than perhaps you initially thought, or how do you sort of assess the?
We were hoping we were going to win more games of footy, but the reality is we've had some pretty significant hiccups over the course of the last 2 or 3 years. Whether it's players leaving the club or one of them today, like Horn Francis, goes back home to play his footy. He's a first round draft pick or number 1 draft pick, high quality player. He was our player and chose to go home. So those sorts of things set you back a little bit in terms of your rebuild. I mean, we replaced him with other good young players, but it just pushes us back 12 months to 2 years. Taron Thomas, the situation that unfolded there, and Ben McKay going to Western. So they're players that we've invested in over the time through draft and that sort of stuff, and then you get in 2 of their cases, they've been at the club for 6 or 7 years and think that they should be about to play their best footy at the club, and they're no longer there. So those sorts of things make it a little bit more difficult for you, but we see where we're at and what we've got in front of us, and we just roll the sleeves up and get to work, and we'll get there in the long run. But it's just a little bit frustrating that it's not. We're doing a lot of good work behind the scenes to try and progress as a footy club, but the scoreboard suggests that we're not going so well because we haven't won a game. But we feel like we're making some progress despite the wins not being there.
You mentioned the Shields tag. Clarko worked incredibly well on that first half. Is that something you look at to continue this year, given how well it worked during the game?
It'll be horses for course. It'll depend opposition players, and it does muck up the balance of your side a little bit. If you tag, and we ended up dropping the tag late in the game because they were making 2v1s on the tag and freeing up another Port Adelaide player. So we dropped it late in the game. But they're just things you need to work out. Sometimes opposition players are really disciplined at making 2v1s, and sometimes they're not. And we'll just work out. We've got a bye next week. Good chance for us just to reflect and refresh and get ourselves going. And we've got West Coast in Perth the week after. So we'll see what unfolds in that space.
0-11 to start the year. Is it hard in one respect to see where a win's going to come, but when you look at, I guess, that you're winning these KPIs and these little wins you're having, is it easy for you as coach to see that you are improving and things are eventually going to turn? As I said earlier on, we're just we're still finding progress through the little wins that we get in games, and sometimes that's just really, really little things. It was a win for us this week with Will Dawson just playing another game of footy, and he's played against Peter Wright last week, Todd Marshall this week. Guys who 6, 7, 8 years ago were in exactly the same place as Will Dawson, just a young bloke trying to find his way in AFL footy. So they're the little wins that we know that he'll just be benefit enormously from that sort of exposure, and we just keep chipping away, and gradually those little wins will turn into something that materialises into consistent victories for us. Expect Jai Simpkin back after the break?
Yeah, we've been really patient with Jai and Colby McKercher. Both those guys are 2 of our best runners at the club, and as we saw today, I thought Port Adelaide probably were able to outspread us at different stages, but that's going to happen when you got 2 of your best runners sitting in the grandstand. So we because they are such good runners and they both got leg injuries, We just wanted to make sure they're absolutely cherry ripe. So hopefully they have a really good next 2 weeks and get themselves right for the trip over to the West.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Larko. Thanks.